Hey, what's up, everyone? This is DayTraderRockStar, and I'm doing a little watch list and trade review from the last week. Basically going over some of my trades, most of my trades, and some of the setups that might still be active here, and maybe some new setups here. So we're going to start off here, Melli, Mercado Libre, and again, just reviewing the trades. We picked this one up at 68.86 on this pullback. Reason we did that just was taking the first bit of weakness into the 50-period moving average. Happened to catch that reversal today and took it off the next day for a nice little gain. So we had that was a really nice trade. And again, still looking at Mercado Libre as a continued trade. We're seeing a pullback, holding the trend line. I still like this one a lot to the upside and looking to continue to trade this one. Melli, waste management, we took that off this week, and again, this was out of this downward. This was a high probability setup where I call the stochastic wedge pattern. Nice lower channel, 200 period moving average underneath this, and a trend line break up to there. So we took that one off at $35.99, just about $36, and you can actually see the beautiful move. Basically what we look for is, again, downward trend line break. Everything time and a stochastic indicator time, and also the 200 period moving average. You have all these things working for you, and a great setup. That was a great trade on waste management. ARG was a fast one. That was just on a bounce off of this pullback. We won't even count that one. That was a good trade. RMD was a nice consolidation. We saw that one coming up, added to the position here, right above the 20-period moving average. You got that nice breakout, and then boom, took profits into strength. It actually continued to move up here. You can see on Friday. So it's actually, when you have a consolidation like this and a breakout, usually volume comes in on that. It's usually good to go. So it was just a matter of time to watch this. This was a very easy setup to see on the chart. You could actually see each time the stochastics pulled back where we had a multiple indicator set up. Here we had the 200. Here we had the trend line in the 200. Here we had the 50-period moving average and a higher low. And at this point, we're already embedded in the stocks just took off there. So very good setup on RMD. KMB. Took this one off. Actually, see, what do we got? KMB. Took this one off. It was flat. Actually, I got just tired of this. But everything actually pointed out, looking back at it now, and you could see actually wanted to get in on the overall stochastic and the trend line, but this one really chopped out a lot. Finally moved last Friday, wasn't in it, but just taking a look back at it. OI, though, we took that off this week, and that was, again, another great what we call a high probability setup here, especially with that wedge pattern on the stochastics, the lower trend line, and from that area there to this area, a beautiful move. Everything about this stock worked out well. It was just a nice pullback. It still looks very strong, and that was a very nice trade. MICC, which last week was the kick-ass trade of the week, and it performed just like that. It took us a day to get into better position here. Started taking a position into that weakness, and then we had a nice rally and follow-through rally. Boom, took profits, and great setup. Again, the same scenario. 200 period moving average, downward channel line, wedge pattern. And so you see what my favorite setup is here. This is my quest. When I can start to find these channels that pull back, 200 period moving upper channel line. We have a few of them on the watch list this week. So I mean, what was that? BBD still holding up into that type of scenario. All right, and that's what we call the kick-ass trade of the week. Kick-ass trade is pretty much defined. When the 10-4,000 watch list goes out, it's the best of the best setups, and looking for the biggest and most explosive move. So we got in at 88.24, took it off at $92.99, $93. Continued up here to like $95, as most of those stocks do. Accenture was a trade that was a nice gap up trade. Very strong stock. I look back on this one. I just did some research. I just got the white screen of death. Oh man, what is going on here? Excuse me. ACN just was a hold into earnings. Did some research and actually got a got a good earnings play. It was just a total gamble. But look back in previous guidance. They had upward guidance. Everything was good about the company. So it was pretty easy tech call there on ACN. ROVI took that off into strength. ROVI upward trend line took that off. I still would get back into that. ISRG went over this. Again, this is on this week's watch list also. This is a very good setup, but scaled into it as the stochastics pulled back. We saw we're going to see a divergence between the stochastics and the lower price angle there, price point there, and just took it right up to the trend line and took profits into it. Now it's also on this week's watch list, so I am expecting it to break a little bit higher and break out of this and move up towards that 200 period moving average. So a nice setup on ISRG. Now the stocks that didn't work out, GNK started breaking down. Wanted to get into this one as a bounce in a W pattern, but did not, and so we started dropping out, and I had to stop here at the lows. And good thing we did, because it continued to break down here on GNK. So the shipper's just not, basically a technical trade. Bounce, first retracement off the bounce, buying it off, right off the lows. That way, if it drops down, it's little risk on that. GNK did not fare well. The AMT, I got shaken out of AMT, came down, wanted to pretty much hold this trend line, and we actually spiked down, and then reversed above it. Of course, when we started moving down, I took my shares off and kind of figured that we were going to reverse back into the pattern. And actually, the pattern looks okay. The stochastics are oversold. I was kind of upset about that. Normally, I could actually see those reversals happening, especially if there was time on the stochastics to start to turn back up. So we're going to watch this going into this week on AMT. Diamond Offshore also not really performing. I was looking for this one to move up, and we started breaking down this trend line. So I took it off the table, and again, just not ready for the Diamond Offshore yet. DO. And it was actually a trade in Baidu where it dropped right off here. So tried to pick this one up off the 50 period moving average, broke down, just took it off, hit a stop, and now we're pulling back. But interesting thing about the Baidu is we're in that Chinese sector, and I think the Chinese sector is set up really nice this week. So that's just a little review. I just go over a couple of other ones I think might move this week. Eastman Kodak. We didn't review this one, but this was a pretty good setup. We've continued to buy this one on stochastic divergence. The first time we bought that, it was here, and then we got the earnings call. Then we added to it here because we saw the perfect positive stochastic divergence, and then boom, got back in on it here. Just know how these stocks play out here, and I expect this one just to trend up in a way where we're going to be. Let me get rid of this. Hold on. There, that's where I figure we're going to go. We're going to march right up here, just like that. We're just going to continue to march up here. So slow grind to $6. Slow grind to $6 on Eastman Kodak. So that's just a little review. What I'm going to do now is put out in a few couple hours, I'm going to put out a nice educational video and put out a new watch list. So this is Day Trader Radio, Day Trader Rockstar for Day Trader Radio.